Hey everybody, Brian, Real Hard Fishing channel here. I'm gonna do the rebuilds on my Johnson 115 carburetors. It's a 95 Johnson 115. Got the carburetor rebuild kits in. I am going to rebuild them. I've already done one, so I don't want to run any problems on cameras to make sure everything was nice and loose. No bolts were gonna get stripped, no screws are gonna get stripped out. These are the carburetor rebuild kits here. Comes with everything you need. Your main jet, comes with your needle, your float needle, and all the gaskets that you need. Got them on Amazon, $16 change. Anywhere else are like $30 something a piece, $40 something a piece. Boat shops $130 a piece. I got 4 of them for $64 on Amazon. Go check it out if you need a carburetor rebuild kit for a 95 Johnson 115. It fits the 60-degree engines with the optical ignition. So I am going to get into the rebuild now. Alright, so this is one of the carburetors here. This is the bowl. 4 screws come out in the bowl. Not hard. Take them out. Make sure you keep all your parts together, that way you know where everything goes. Your float here. A little screw here holds your float in. Just loosen that up. You pull your float out. Take your float swivel or your whatever that is thing. Yeah, that thing. And then also your what's gas? Gas out there. Oh, take your gasket off as well. Throw that to the side. Your old stuff pile. Your float needle here. Why is there still gas in there? I washed this thing with water. I put these in water and washed them with Dawn. There's still gas in here. And throw your old float needle to the side over there so you don't get mixed up with your new parts. Get all that out of here. Pull this little gasket here off. Put that to the side. Wipe down all this junk. Also, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. You're also going to need a flathead screwdriver. A bigger one would work a little better because these are wide slots in these jets, but this one works fine. So what you want to do next is pull the side gasket off here. It's 5 screws. These are probably the easiest carburetor I've ever rebuilt in my life. Used to working on small engine carburetors all the time for my 4-wheelers and dirt bikes, chainsaws, weed eaters, you name it. Even car carburetors. Now, doing these rebuilds on this carburetor is just part of the whole ignition system that I was gonna do because I had a high-speed miss. I couldn't figure it out. I finally found the service manual and figured out what the problem should be. Not 100% yet because I haven't got these carburetors on to start it up to find out. Again, to set your parts to the side, make sure all together, that way you know where they are and what goes with what. And as y'all can see, these old gaskets are really swelled up. Look here at one of these old ones. Where's that one? That's right there. That one right there. You can see right there how swollen that gasket is. So these just weren't sealing right. I had carburetors leaking left and right. So your old gasket to the side, wipe all the water out of it. If you got a compressed air can, this works great for spraying little stuff out in there. All the water out of it. Alright, now the main components you're going to be replacing is this gasket here, your side gasket, your float gasket, your float needle and the little wire that holds the float needle on, your main jet gasket, your float drain screw gasket, and I don't have an old gasket for your idle jet here, I think it's your pilot jet. I don't have the old gasket there because these were so old they didn't have them in there, disintegrated, so they come with replacements. You're replacing your pilot jet, and I think that's it. That's all there is really to replace in here. So now that we've got the carburetor almost all the way apart, we're going to take the main, or the pilot jet out. This unscrews the pilot jet, just set that to the side. Now we're going to open up a new carburetor rebuild kit. Comes with instructions. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, when you do get these kits though, you are going to have 3 different backing gaskets, and you want to watch out for that brand new little teeny metal float needle clip, because that will fall out and you'll lose that. Not that you actually have to replace it, but it's brand new, so do it anyways. Anyways, back to the main point. These kits come with 3 back gaskets for your carburetor where your carburetor mounts to your intake. The gaskets that you're going to use depends on what numbers on the side of your carburetors. Mine require the brown gasket, the thicker one. Now the other numbers require these black gaskets, so I'm just going to throw these to the side because I don't need them. Your brand new pilot jet, your brand new float needle. Now, what we're going to do, and it also comes with another side gasket, which you're not going to use that because depending on what carburetor you have, I'm not using it because mine's not for that. So I throw that to the side, out of the way. That way you don't get confused with anything. So these are the main gaskets here you're going to be replacing. It also comes with this float needle clip stuck to it. Anyhow, this is another gasket that you won't be using. Well, like I said, depending on application. I don't need that for mine. Brand new float needle spring or clip. Anyways, the main gaskets you're going to be replacing. Get out of there. It looks so small. Float bowl, drain screw gasket. Pilot jet gasket. Backing plate gasket, well, I would call that anyways, where it mounts to your intake. Float bowl gasket. Main jet gasket. And your side gasket. Those are the gaskets. And this is the new float rod, I guess you would call it. So, let's get into that. Now, what we're going to do first is put the float back on. Always remember which way your float goes. That way you don't put it on upside down. So, you're going to slide the new rod inside the float here. Set that down. Float needle clip. Bust out your float needle. Float needle goes inside that little hook part right there. But make sure that when you do it, it's facing like that, because that's going to go on your float just like that. And ooh, that little thing just hangs in there like that. So we're just going to set that to the side. We're not going to use that right now. First we got to put our pilot jet in. Pilot jet gasket. Pilot jet goes in pilot jet hole. Pilot jet gets screwed down. Again, don't tighten down too tight. You just want it snug. Now we're going to do the float and the float needle. Sometimes this can be a pain in the rear because the float needle doesn't ever want to stay on. So this slides on like that. And it's got a little angle on that clip, so that way it's easy to get on the float. And just set your needle inside your pilot jet there. Set the rod in place. Phillips head screwdriver. And just tighten that down to where it's snug, to where it sets that float in there, just like that. Now your float's in. Pilot float needle's in the pilot jet. Now we're gonna do the gaskets. The rear main jet. Float gasket. Float bowl gasket, sorry. Float bowl. Float bowl screws. Make sure you don't strip them. Or cross them, I'm sorry. I like to do mine diagonally so that way it gives it a good even seal. It doesn't compress it on one side totally. And don't tighten them all the way down. That was going sideways. Somebody done that one before I got to it before. And just snug them down. You don't want to pinch that gasket. Nice and snug. Next gasket, our side gasket here. And then it goes just like this. 5 screws. Just tighten these down. You don't want them tight. You don't want to pinch that gasket. Just snug them all, just like all the rest of them. Now, the last part. Float drain screw gasket. Or float bowl drain screw gasket, sorry. Old gasket, swollen, bad, no good. New gasket, very tight and hard to get on. Gotta roll it on. There you go. Roll it on down. Again, do not over tighten, just where it touches. And that is the 95 Johnson 115 60-degree optical ignition outboard motor carburetor rebuild right there, all in one shot. Very easy, very simple, doesn't take no time at all.